You know, the Nintendo Switch in 2021 through 2022 is going to be pretty amazing. Think about it, we have new Nintendo Switch games like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser, Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon Snap, and tons more Nintendo Switch games. And that doesn't even include Nintendo Switch games we don't even know about, like maybe a mainline Pokemon game? 2021, hurry up and start. So something strange is going on with Nintendo and how they're releasing Nintendo Switch games and giving us Nintendo news. It's clear by now that they intend on giving us more information on what I would consider mid-tier Nintendo Switch games, but what about the top-tier Nintendo Switch games, the Zeldas and Marios, or even third-party games as well? And of course not to mention our full Nintendo Direct that sets up 2021. Well, in this video I'm gonna give you my predictions for Nintendo plans for all of these games and kind of what Nintendo 2020 through 2021 might look like. So first off, let's start with a huge Nintendo Switch game, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Now, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, the first game, did amazing. In fact, it outsold the number of Nintendo Switches that were actually sold, which is a huge factor in my prediction when it comes to Breath of the Wild 2's release date. If the first game sold that many copies, more than the amount of Nintendo Switches being bought, Nintendo would be insane not to launch the Nintendo Switch Pro that's been heavily rumored by now with Breath of the Wild 2 in the same fashion that they did with Breath of the Wild 1. Especially if the better experience of playing Breath of the Wild 2 is on a Nintendo Switch Pro. Now, development on Breath of the Wild 2 started in 2019, so I think the game is still a little ways away, even if it is being made in the same engine as Breath of the Wild 1, which, if you didn't know, can make development for some games much faster. So my prediction is Breath of the Wild 2 will come out in spring of 2021, even when you factor in the recent development update that seems like a good time to me. As for Breath of the Wild 2 gameplay, I think we'll see that at the next full Nintendo Direct, which I think will be in January at the start of 2021. Next up, let's talk about No More Heroes 3 and of course the possibility of No More Heroes 1 and 2 coming to the Nintendo Switch. So recently, if you haven't heard, No More Heroes 3 was delayed into 2021, so we know that 2021 is a very possible release date unless there is some kind of delay for No More Heroes 3, but I think for now we can definitely say for sure that 2021 is going to be the release date of No More Heroes 3. As for No More Heroes 1 and 2, No More Heroes 1 has recently popped up on the Taiwanese rating board back in August, so there is a good chance that we will see No More Heroes 1 released on the Nintendo Switch and maybe even No More Heroes 2 along with it. As for the reveal of that game and the release date, the exact release date for the game, I think it'll be at a partner showcase, which I'll explain more on that later in this video. Because I think when it comes to Nintendo Directs and mini Directs and partner showcases, I think it's going to be way different than we're used to. Now, since No More Heroes 3 has been in production for a while, I can see No More Heroes 3 coming out in a couple months before Breath of the Wild release date, which I said was spring. So between February and May of 2021, I think we'll see the release date of No More Heroes 3. Next up, we have the next big game, Metroid Prime 4. Now, we don't know anything about this game right now. Metroid Prime 4 is still a huge mystery to us, but recent Nintendo Switch news can give us an idea of what stage they are in when it comes to the development of Metroid Prime 4. And it seems like they're still in the early stages of development for Metroid Prime 4 because remember, they did scrap the OG plans of Metroid Prime 4, which I hope someday they do come to light because I think it would be kind of cool to see what could have been. Now, the reason why I think Metroid Prime 4 is still in early development is because things like level designers, storyboard artists, and environmental designers are still being hired for. You definitely wouldn't be hiring these type of jobs if you were already far along in the development that you would have the environment and character designs and story already together. And this also makes a lot of sense as to why we weren't seeing a lot of things on Metroid Prime 4. In fact, nothing we have seen from Nintendo themselves actually. Now, by January of 2021, we will probably see a CGI trailer for the game or some kind of cutscene trailer like we saw with Breath of the Wild 2. I don't think we'll see gameplay because again, I think it's still in early development. And I think going into 2021 at the very start, I don't think we'll see gameplay either. But I do think putting the ideas from the level designers and storyboard artists, environment designers, and other people's jobs will be enough to put together a CGI trailer. As for the Metroid Prime 4 release date, I don't think it's going to come out in 2021. I think it's going to come out in mid of 2022 if development on the game is still a long ways away. However, if I am wrong about that, late 2021 is a possibility. Now, as for that Metroid Prime trilogy that's still heavily rumored, I have a feeling Nintendo will release those on the Nintendo Switch, especially considering that it recently came out that Nintendo has made a gateway for emulation via the emulator they use for the Super Mario 3D games, which if you want to learn more about that, click the top right corner of this video. There is also a rumor of Super Metroid being a remake that I think isn't true unless it pops up again. If you look at past Nintendo leaks and rumors, a lot of the right ones that end up becoming true pop up more than once. In fact, they pop up multiple times, so I don't think this rumor is true, but if it does pop up more, more, the chances of it being true are more likely. Moving on, we have Bayonetta 3, and I think when it comes to Bayonetta 3, you'd be surprised at how quick this game will come out. I think the release date for Bayonetta 3 is going to be February of 2021. It was about 4 or 5 months ago that they said the development of the game was going great, so Bayonetta 3 will probably come out fairly soon unless we do see a delay for the game, of course. If not, I think the game is fairly close. Now, why we haven't seen any Bayonetta 3 gameplay is still a mystery to me, but one theory I do have is that Nintendo is keeping this under wraps like a lot of other Nintendo Switch games until 2021, and I think we'll see a long gameplay trailer at the January Nintendo Direct. And next up we have Pokemon Snap. All we have is one trailer from this game, and in that trailer we do see some snippets of gameplay. Now this was all the way back in June, so most likely this game will be in further development than other Nintendo Switch games. I think at the time of that trailer the game was about 60% done, and by January it'll probably be about 85% done to 80% done, so I do think a release date for Pokemon Snap will happen at that predicted January Nintendo Direct, and my prediction for that will be March of 2021. Now I do want to talk about games that I think will be announced during 2021, but not necessarily at that predicted January Nintendo Direct. Mario Odyssey was a giant success and nearly everyone loved that game, so I think we could see a Mario Odyssey 2 announced sometime in 2021. I think it will just be a small teaser, but everyone will definitely get hyped for this new Mario game. Second, I think we won't get a Mario Kart in 2021, but I do think we could get a possible Diddy Kong racing game. Now this is based off a rumor that was said that Nintendo has plans for a game with tires. Now the person who said it was ex-leaker Sabby on Twitter, who Nintendo actually went after and shut him down. And I think a new Diddy Kong racing could work, and I definitely would love to have one, especially when you consider how buddy-buddy Nintendo and Microsoft are being right now. Borrowing some characters for that game shouldn't be much of a problem. And if you want to learn about more Nintendo Switch leaks and rumors, I have a video just for you. Just click the top right corner and you'll be at that video. Now there is one series that I have yet to mention, and that is of course Pokemon. What's going to happen to Pokemon in 2021? By then all the DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield will be out, so it's time to think about what's in store for Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch in 2021. I think we'll get an announcement for a mainline Pokemon game, and it'll hopefully look leagues better than Pokemon Sun and Moon. I don't know why I put Sun and Moon there. It's supposed to be Sword and Shield. I also do think we'll get a Pokemon Let's Go game, which will probably come out in early 2021, and the mainline Pokemon game will come out in early 2022. I think they have been working on that Pokemon game, we just haven't heard anything from it. And next up we have to talk about the fate of the Nintendo Directs, and I mean full Nintendo Directs. Now a while back Nintendo did say in their investor meeting that they want to explore more ways to promote and market their products, and I think the arrival of these partner showcases is one of these ways. Now I don't think that means full general Nintendo Directs are out the window though. I do think that they will still have their place among the Nintendo Directs, and I think Nintendo's plans kind of got messed up by the virus, and they said let's just push everything into 2021 and do a January Nintendo Direct right at the start of 2021, because it kind of does make sense that Nintendo does want to set up Nintendo Switch in 2021 right at the start of 2021. Now Nintendo is no slouch when it comes to Nintendo news for new Nintendo Switch games recently, but bigger games are not found anywhere, and I think they did get pushed into 2021, because by then the virus is probably going to be less of a problem than it was a couple months ago. So I think once 2021 hits, we will see Nintendo start to have more regular full Nintendo Directs like we usually do, but maybe third-party games won't be as present as before. Instead, the third-party news that we usually get from full Nintendo Directs will probably be saved for partner showcases. Nintendo would essentially be cutting out some of the third-party games and throwing them into the partner showcases, leaving the more bigger Nintendo Switch games for full general Nintendo Directs. Now all of this is predictions. All of these dates that I mentioned are not fact. They are just coming from my own head and guesswork off of recent news and rumors that have gone around. But now that I told you my predictions, make sure you tell me your predictions down in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. I don't know why I said videos like that. And remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one, guys.